Hey guys, Drift here. Just wanted to do a video on my P226 Navy build. You may have seen my previous video. This started off as a TM P226e2. A couple of reasons why I wanted the E2 instead of the 226R was because the E2 has a slightly updated design internally. The trigger is also nicer. I like this trigger better than the fat one. I'd rather get it all as a set instead of buying a trigger separately. The spring housing is also smaller, which I will go into some details why I like it smaller later. And also it comes with the new E2 magazines, which in my opinion function a lot better than the standard 226R. So the gun is clear, actually. So going into this build, I wanted to satisfy two conditions. One, it has to look nice, also realistic as well, and also feel realistic. And two, it has to be gas efficient. Now, I've had a couple 226Rs in the past. First one was a KJW, which functioned decent, but not the best. I did have a bunch of gas efficiency issues. I did fix some of it with a creation slide, which actually surprised me. Compared to the KJW's stock configuration, with the creation slide, it actually functioned substantially better, but still not good enough. I ended up selling that gun, and later on purchased the prime kit used that was already put together using a 226. Also had all the bells and whistles like inner barrel, hop-up rubber, and steel valve knocker and stuff like that, all of that installed. But that one did not function at all. The prime kits, they look nice, but they don't function very well because the slides are heavy, and I guess just the parts that the previous owner chose, they just weren't very well thought out, because he had a heavy slide, but then he also used a heavy spring, and he also used, old 226R magazines, which didn't have the best gas efficiency. And so he ended up with a gun that was really sluggish, very sluggish cycling, and also it just used up a lot of gas to move the heavy slide back and forth. So I ended up selling that too because I didn't like it at all. And so I set out to build a project, a 226R or 226 that would work well and still look nice. And so this is what came out of it. So I started off picking up a Garter Navy frame. Has all of the correct trademarks on there, all engraved in there. Not the best looking kit, but for the price is really good. There are some slight imperfections on the paint and some of the molding. Because this is not CNC'd, it's like I guess you could call it, it's cast. The paint is also, you can also see some imperfections here and there and stuff like that, but it really isn't a big issue, since real guns aren't perfect either. I do have experience with a couple real SIGs, and they don't have perfect finish. So they're built to run, so that's the most important thing. Another thing that I went with was a creation slide, which I actually got really lucky with the slide because it meshes perfectly with the frame with minimal movement. There's basically almost none. It's loose. It's broken in slightly, so there's a little bit, but very little, as you can see. With the mag inserted, it's almost non-existent, which is real nice. And also the color. This was I specifically chose the black and gray color for the slide, because on real SIGs the slide is slightly lighter than the frame. And the last creation slide I had, which was on my KJW P226, was a light gray color with sort of a greenish tint to it, and I thought that would look good with the frame here. But what it came out to was actually this sort of a really dark bluish type finish, which, as you can see, you might be able to see the slight difference on the slide and frame, but in person, it actually looks really close. Like, both the colors match up really closely, which I actually got pretty lucky with that, and I actually quite prefer this look. This look actually looks pretty good. The slide set was about $120 before shipping, and the frame I purchased it along with the steel takedown lever, steel spring guide rod, 150% spring set, as well as the enhanced loading nozzle. Got that in total for about $200, which isn't bad considering some metal kits out there in Canada cost upwards of $400, so pretty good. The slide set also came with the barrel here, which has some slight wear already, which I don't really mind. It's a chamber; it's just going to be wear on there. I mean, if you have a clean chamber with minimal wear on it, that means you don't even use it. So, I mean, this is supposed to be a Navy SEAL pistol build, so they're built to be used. So, anyways, the trades on the slide really nicely engraved, along with the laser etched anchor on there, really nice. I've pretty much left most of the internals stock, except for the 150% recoil spring. I did not bother to install the 150% hammer spring because I didn't really see the need for it, as there are rarely any light striking issues with SIGs, just because of the way they're designed. And if you do upgrade the hammer spring, you'll eventually wear out your sears and stuff, because it's, there's more pressure on the hammer, as well as you'll end up breaking your valve knocker. So, but since it functions perfectly fine with the stock hammer, I've decided to stick with that. Another thing that I've changed out internally is the blowback housing. And this is one of the key parts that I needed to make an gas-efficient 226. The UAC blowback housing is pretty new. It's a lightweight aluminum blowback housing. Came out not too long ago. Bought it just to test it, and it seems to work very well. Except for the fact that I did need to shim it when to put it inside the creation slide. The creation slides are made slightly wider to accommodate the Tokyo Marui nozzle housing, so blowback housing. So this one I didn't have to shim it with some electrical tape, and after I shimmed it, it fits perfectly and also functions perfectly as well. If you go on to eHobby, you'll probably find it for about $40. I mean, it's a little pricey, but it's well worth it to make your SIG run, a lot better than stock. So now, the lightweight blowback housing paired with the light slide and paired with the 150% hammer spring gives a very quick cycling and snappy gun. I mean, you can shoot pretty much all the. I mean, the mag was pretty cold, and I was able to shoot every single round out of this magazine on rapid fire without stopping. And I still had gas left, but it couldn't lock back, but that's to be expected because I gassed it up and immediately started shooting it, so I didn't let it warm up. So definitely in the summer it'll be able to shoot every single round and lock back. I will have to see how many mags I can get out of it. Maybe 1.5, but consistently, which is good. Another thing that I picked up were the Garter steel screws, because the E2 doesn't come with the proper 226 grips. It comes with the E2 grips, which don't have any screws. They basically just clamp on to the frame. And to replace that, I actually picked up a real set of SIG grips. And these feel extremely nice. I really like the feel of this. It feels very realistic, very close to the real SIG as well. It's just a weight difference now. But definitely, if you are able to find real Sig grips, I would definitely recommend you to pick them up and install it on the gun, because these just feel a whole lot better than the standard grips that you get with the 226, well, an airsoft 226. So these did require quite a bit of modification to fit, and that's the main reason why I went with the main spring. Why I went with the E2, because the main spring housing is small enough to accommodate these grips. And I didn't really have to modify the spring housing that much, except for the bottom two corners of the main spring housing. I had to round it off in order for this to close properly. But I did have to modify the inside of the grip where the screws go through. They were a little bit too deep, so I had to haul them out a little bit to fit the threads. But as you can see, it fits perfectly almost, except for the fact that it's kind of warped down the middle. Because if you look closely in person, you can see that these grips are the center part right here sticks out a little bit farther. So these two parts are touching each other, but it causes these two ends to sort of leave a gap just slightly. But honestly, it's not too bad. It feels very comfortable, and I'm quite happy with the result. This gun actually shoots extremely well. I'm going to fire a couple of shots here. So you can see it shoots very snappy, and of course locks back on the last shot. Really nice. So you can see this frame is actually, and slide is sort of, they are definitely starting to break in, but still it's very smooth cycling. There's basically nothing preventing the slide from coming back aside from the 150% spring. So as you can see, it's very smooth. I mean, I did put a little bit of lube on the rails because it was a little dry, obviously. Yeah, the overall gun functions extremely well, and I'm quite happy with it. So you can see the cocker works as well, so I got everything to function properly. Apart from the magazine release, it's different. The navy one is supposed to have like just serrations on there. This is checkered, so it's not the right mag release, but it's a very small detail and can easily be replaced. So it's not difficult at all. But anyways, that's basically it for this 226 Navy build. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, post down in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.